You know, because most places where you buy a gift card, if you buy a $100 gift card, they'll give you $120.
Right.
Or something like that.
Ribbon Shop does that.
Yeah. Ribbon Shop.
You got to know where to shop, farmer.
Oh, God.
The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill, next to the Roadside Event Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat, it's where it's at.
525, Mark and Paul, checking our sources, see what happened since we left yesterday till we got here this morning. I had 39 degrees coming in, and you know what that means on the 1st of October? Everybody who blows out sprinklers is getting calls today.
Oh, yeah?
Now, it's going to warm back up. It was one chilly day, and you're fine at 31. Don't worry about it. But I know my guy comes about the second week of October every year, so just getting to be the end of the season and got to get her done somewhere.
Yeah, we already had a frost a couple weeks ago, so it doesn't matter out our way. But I had 30 this morning, so...
Around the state this morning, Anaconda had 26, Ennis 35, Hamilton 30, Frenchtown 30, Alberton 32, so...
It was a little windy yesterday for a while there, and I started seeing you. But since it was windy, I can tell you this. I know I'm not going to have wireworm, strike mosaic, or anything else because all that treat that's on the seed, when the wind blows, it just comes up and you just inhale it and it goes in your body.
Oh, good for you.
I'm going to have a third one by next Tuesday. So
a healthy farmer's a happy farmer.
That's right. So, yeah.
Hey, Paul, at this stage of the game, if you were going to get something from Chemical, you'd have got it.
I know it. I'd have been dead already. Yeah. But nice all week.
Oh, yeah.
Going to be in the 80s again Friday. So
walked into the High Horse for lunch yesterday. Some people stopped me on the way in. Wanted to know where we were going to be this week to get signed up. I said, you trying to win? It's, oh, no, we're going. But if we win it, that's nice, too.
All the people you talk to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
how many days?
We got to be...
Where in the hell is Deanna?
I don't know. Get 107, 108 in there somewhere.
Yeah. Almost below 100 now.
Right.
Once we get below 100.
Right.
Folks, once we get to Thanksgiving, you better start packing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just... And for Mark and I, once we get to 3:30 in the morning the day we leave, then we got to start packing.
I got to find my passport and that packet of ones, and I'll see you at the airport.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know.
Folks, you want to know the main difference between the people trying to win the trip and the people that already know they're going to a sold-out resort? The size of the freaking smile on their face because they know they're going.
They are? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Asked me about next year's trip. I said, I don't know. Don't know. Don't care.
Can we go on this year's first?
Right.
We get that all the time. Because the people that missed out this year or couldn't go this year, or I had a wedding, we got a grandbaby coming, we couldn't go, we're going to do this, well,
same thing on the trip. About halfway through the week. So you guys know where we're going next year? Let's finish this week. Let's enjoy ourselves. Every day you're on the right side of the grass is a blessing.
It's October 1st already. Man, whew. I should be a grandpa any day now. Coming up here, the first week October. So
good.
So we'll see what happens here. My little Maddie's due. So
well, Todd Berg's going with us. 28 degrees on top of Bozeman Pass.
You know, he's been wanting to go for years.
Yeah.
He drove city bus and stuff. You know, worked his ass off just like the rest of us, and was able to save. And good for him. Him and his wife will have a great time. Did you happen to see any of the discussion on the water?
No, but I've got the story here. And this, folks, this is what needs to happen. A frustrated public demanded answers and action on hefty water bills. The city, that Chris Kukulski, Billings City Administrator, who's got a tough job.
Yeah.
I'm confident with the character of the employees that have working on this problem, we'll be able to work through this. He explained to everybody how the new system is working, and people didn't care for it. One person said, things will happen when people start to lose their jobs. Jennifer Claddy says, I want some accountability all the way to the top gentleman, all the way to the mayor.
Well, the mayor isn't anything.
Paul, they're pissed. Just
know.
let them have it.
The mayor has no power.
No.
See, there's folks, once again, there is the failure of our civics program. People don't understand about our city manager form of government that we have.
Some people are seeing water bills as high as $1,000, which is ridiculous and crazy.
So what was the explanation? Did you get to that part yet? I could go look at it. I'm just getting some news here together.
Yeah.
But I have a real problem anymore looking at stuff and how they present it and their angles. And we talked about it yesterday, and it was just it's just so true. Now, from what I heard at the meeting, they were telling everybody whose bill went up, you have a leak somewhere, where on the bill it would say continuous flow or something on the bill. I don't know. I don't have water bills, so I don't know how it works. But it would be it's hard for me to fathom that now that they put the new meters in and they have this new way of building, that between then and now, 4,000 people could all have a leak start, all simultaneously at one time.
That we didn't catch 3 months ago.
Right.
No, there's something wrong in there somewhere.
Could be in the software that monitors the meters, or, I mean, who knows? But,
according to this, the city explained that the calculations and charges are accurate.
right.
And the new software and meters are working together properly.
See? Because we know when it comes to software, nobody can hack into it. It's perfectly safe. There's never a problem with computers, Mark. Or is there? Internet service, nothing. It's hard to believe, though, that so many people could have all had the same problem at the same time and the same answer from the city about all of their problems.
Well, it does sound fishy.
That just it's improbable that would happen. That all of a sudden you got 4,000 people that between the time they put the new meters in and use the new software and now that 4,000 of them all sprung a leak. That's exact month, Mark. The same month everybody sprung a leak. Hard for me to believe that. Now, for you folks in Billings, when you have a water problem, you don't have to fix it.
But
So I have to fix it when I have a water problem, and I have them all the time.
some people don't like to go out in their underwear when they're still wet from the shower quitting and have to pull a well.
That's right.
But it's got to be done.
That's right. It's either do it or you have no water. So that's one good thing. To me, it'd almost be worth paying a high bill not to have to ever mess around with water.
Water, city water to people is like you always talk about with electricity. The value it brings for what you pay.
The value.
Delivered right to your home, rarely out.
Don't have to send Ma out in the backyard with a bucket and crank down on the red jacket spigot that's on the well and fill it and bring it in, warm it up. None of that.
Get ready for a spooktacular October at the Roadside Event Center. Friday, October 11th, join them for Bingo, a fundraiser for Pack the Place in Pink. Get tickets now for Dueling Pianos on Friday and Saturday, October 18th and 19th. And plan for a Halloween weekend filled with fun. The Blue Cat has fantastic food and drinks. Sushi and sliders on Sundays, Italian night Mondays, prime rib Saturdays, and loaded Bloody Marys all weekend. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill, Northern Avenue in Huntley, just 9 miles east of the Metro Park exit.
Well, it didn't affect Paul and I. At least I don't think it affected Paul. We haven't talked about it. But we had a much, much larger issue in Billings yesterday, something more catastrophic. We had a lot of cell phones that weren't working yesterday.
Really?
I saw somebody posted a comment. 94 people commented on it. You know what would be good for us? If we shut everybody's phones off one day a month, and the only number that worked was 911. People are so frickin' addicted to their phones. I didn't have a cell phone for 33 years, and I got by just fine. A lot of people had one afternoon of outage, and they're ready to go to jail for murder.
Oh, that affects people more than the water.
Yeah, you're right. It
Nobody
does.
ever complains about their cell phone bill.
No.
You know, oh, I got this app, I got that app, I got this app. I'm paying $3.99 for that one, $4.99. They don't care.
I saw one lady comment, I have a huge cell phone bill because I have 7 phones on there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's time you get some of your folks in your group to start paying their own way.
Yeah, or put one on the wall and get rid of everything else.
Right. Yeah, those work just as well.
You can make a call on those. So my phone blew up yesterday, but it wasn't because of the water thing or the outage. It was because Pete Rose died. And the minute he died and everybody found out God, I'm on the tractor. I mean, I thought I was losing every system I had on the tractor. My phone was dinging and dinging and dinging. I even heard from one of my old baseball buddies that I played with years ago that texted me and said, "You're the only Charlie Hustle left now." So I had a few choice words for him. But Pete died. Old Petey died at 83. It'll be a national day of mourning in Cincinnati. People don't realize how big he was in Cincinnati.
He was huge. And still should have been.
Yeah.
This whole thing where he was gambling, look at all the other corruption with steroids and everything else that went on for years.
Betted on his team to win, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, now sports, all of sports, baseball, basketball, football, they all promote gambling on their games.
Yes, they do. ESPN has got a show called ESPN Bet that runs the same time as the pregame show for the NFL on Sundays. Paul, you can bet on the next play.
Everything. And it's their whole shows, and the whole league is sponsored by either DraftKings or what's the other one?
There's one out of the MGM Sportsbook that Jamie Foxx does commercials for.
DraftKings and begins with an F, I think. Oh, God. I was talking to John about it the other night.
Yeah.
Anyway, the leagues are all sponsored by it. But Pete was big in Cincy. I'm sure they'll have all the flags flying at half-staff there today in Cincy.
Fanfare?
No.
Okay.
It's, oh, God. I can't think of it now. Big one. It's a big one.
Fanatics.
That's it.
Fanatics, DraftKings, FanDuel.
FanDuel, that's another one.
Bet365, Caesar Sportbook, BetMGM.
One of the greatest players of all time. No doubt about it. Has to be on that list. 83, though. Died in Nevada. Cause of death hasn't been determined yet. He was at a big autograph show just over the weekend down in Nashville. He was there with Tony Perez, George Foster, Dave Concepcion, old Reds, all there. And he was there over the weekend, very active. Still spent his whole life promoting baseball and telling America and American kids how great a game baseball was. He was one of the biggest sellers of the game of baseball. No doubt about it. Always talked about it. Couldn't wait to see his grandkids play, and he's not going to see that now. God, I hope that's not an omen. You know, just finally get him, and Rigor A knocks on the door. But he still said he wanted to get in the Hall of Fame, and he wanted all of his kids and grandkids to see him get in, and that won't happen.
And should. They could fix that today.
With today's standards and what athletes are doing, Alex Karras and all those guys in football, they're all in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Lawrence Taylor, all these guys are in.
Lawrence Taylor, gambling and severe cocaine addiction.
Not to mention the women thing. We've dropped all of the old marijuana convictions on people in the country now that had a criminal record based on marijuana, this, that. Because times have changed, they got rid of all those. But anyway, that's for a later argument. But he was one of a kind. He has all kinds of records. And the one he said he thinks will never be broken was not his hit record or his games played record, because he played in 3,562 games. His plate appearances, he had almost 16,000.
Jeez.
That's a big one. But the one he said, I remember in an interview one time, the one he said that he doesn't think will be broken was how many games that he won as a player. And that'll be tough to beat. Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, they were all reprimanded for their association and associating with casinos. Leo DeRocher, Tigers pitcher Denny McLain, all among those who were suspended for gambling, but weren't banned for life. But Bart Giamatti wanted to ban him for life. And Giamatti said one of the greatest players engaged in some acts that stained the game, and he must live with them forever.
Good thing Barry Bonds didn't have to do that.
That's right. Giamatti didn't do that with Willie Mays.
No, he did not.
But anyway, long story short, Petey's gone now and died at 83. I got a lot of Pete Rose memorabilia, tons of it. I told this story once before. My dad's secretary was in charge of all of Pete Rose's fan mail. And so she knew that Pete was my guy. And so I got all kinds of stuff from Pete Rose. I got batting gloves. Pete Rose got me a World Series baseball from like the 70, it was either 70 or 73 series with all the players' signatures on a World Series. He got it for me.
Nice.
And I got pictures of him and all kinds of stuff at home from him. But and the thing about it is, see, he was a Cincinnati native. Mm-hmm. He was born there. He went to Western Hills High School. He played high school baseball there. He came up through the system, and it was just his dad was a real advocate for baseball. His dad taught him to be the switch hitter. In fact, his dad said, you want to be a switch hitter every night before bed, you should go out in the backyard with a bat and you should take 100 swings left-handed and 100 swings right-handed. And so he started doing that. Mm-hmm. Made him the great switch hitter. And Dad used to pitch to him all the time. And in fact, what his dad used to do is he used to pitch to him all the time when he was switch hitting in his backyard. And his dad would just keep moving closer and closer and closer. You know, the mound's 60 feet, 6 inches. Well, he'd just keep moving closer. He'd get within like 45 feet and be pitching to him. And it just made Pete a better hitter, just different old school stuff that made him the best ever. And he was just a phenom in Cincinnati. No one bigger. But I got all kinds of messages yesterday. And in the league, he's in baseball 24 years or something like that. So he was playing, I think his rookie year was 62 or something like that. And that's before I was even close to even following baseball. And
63.
Yeah. So he
and look at these numbers. You know how they rest players now? 161 games in a season. 1963, he played 157.
Yeah.
They didn't take games off back in those days.
No.
136 the next year. 1965, he didn't miss a game.
Didn't want to.
No.
Didn't want to. Isn't it funny that everybody's kids play? Everybody whines about playing time. Hell, now they whine about days off.
Yeah.
Instead of playing time. But he was something. I don't know. Something must have happened. He didn't have cancer. We'll find out.
Right.
Eventually. Like Mutombo. Mutombo had brain cancer.
Right.
He knew. But
are there player statues in front of the Red Stadium?
Yeah.
Is Pete Rose one of them?
I don't know that.
Look that up.
And the reason Dan O'Brien, who was the general manager of the Reds, who's a friend of mine, in fact, I just talked to him on Saturday. Talked about how the Reds underachieved because of the talent they had, but a change was imminent. But the reason they put those big statues in front of the Great American Ballpark, everybody thought it was to honor and to decorate. Yeah, that's true, but they did it to prevent vehicles from being able to drive in there when we had all the terrorist threats after 9/11.
I remember you saying that. Mm-hmm. There's a Tony Perez.
They may not have wanted a baseball. May not have. He wasn't allowed to go to any sanctioned MLB event.
I know. You know what? And I'm not a Pete Rose guy as much as you are, but I still remember the All-Star game when Jim Gray interviewed him and said he wasn't going to ask him about the gambling, and then he asked him about it.
Yeah.
Pete should have just hit him.
He should have. He should have Bud Harrelson him.
Yeah.
But in fact, a few years ago, Jake was at some charity auction out in California, and he bought a Pete Rose jersey that was autographed, and he sent it to me for Father's Day, which was great. But the jersey doesn't have Cincinnati Reds on it.
Oh, well, of course not.
Just says Rose on the back, like his jersey, 14.
So why is one man so singled out when so many have done so much wrong?
Exactly.
In the sport? Not fair.
It isn't. It's unjust. It's like the Democrats. How come one man? Do you think there's any, folks, you think there's any indictments that they could put out there on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden? Huh?
Yeah.
Nope. One man. We're only going to go after one guy. Crooks.
Oh, a couple messages here. There's a bronze of Pete Rose. Oh, give me that now. There's a bronze of Pete Rose going a head-first slide in front of the ballpark. Mm-hmm. And James says if Paul ever wants to unload any of his memorabilia, give me a call. He's a huge collector.
I probably won't.
I'll be a spokesman for Must-Haven Farms and Collectibles.
Yeah.
We're never selling anything ever.
That's right.
To the grave.
That's right.
Bury it with me.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
Get ready for a spooktacular October at the Roadside Event Center. Friday, October 11th, join them for Bingo, a fundraiser for Pack the Place in Pink. Get tickets now for Dueling Pianos on Friday and Saturday, October 18th and 19th. And plan for a Halloween weekend filled with fun. The Blue Cat has fantastic food and drinks. Sushi and sliders on Sundays, Italian night Mondays, prime rib Saturdays, and loaded Bloody Marys all weekend. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill, Northern Avenue in Huntley, just 9 miles east of the Metro Park exit.
I'm reading this slant on the Sheehy-Tester debate. I can't even stand it. I didn't have to watch. I already know which guy I'm voting for. I'm not voting for the other crook. And you folks do what you want. Gotta go. I told Mark yesterday, look, this guy has become so wealthy from sucking ass
There's something you won't get on every other station.
Well, I don't care. While he's in Congress, nobody cares. I told Mark yesterday, I read a thing on Andrea Ocasio-Cortez from New York. You know, the cocktail waitress that was able to schmooze people into getting into Congress. Been there, 6 years? She's worth $29 million.
That was lucky.
Yeah, already. This guy's Tester is getting tens of millions of dollars in this lobbyist cash money. He's a crook, like all the rest of them.
Coming from the guy during the last election, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of his running points was all these other candidates getting dark money.
Yeah.
And now this guy's getting the most because we are going to throw money at this until election day to try to win it.
That's how he beat Conrad Burns to start, which, by the way, none of these two moderators even know anything about Conrad Burns.
No.
They were only 3 when Conrad Burns was senator. We had been on the air 20 years when Tester took office. So, but the slants are just unbelievable. Folks, I looked up yesterday the MOs of all of the journalism professors at the University of Montana, and you would crap in your pants if you knew these people all came from out of state, all liberal institutions, had worked at places like the Washington Post and all these other rags out there. It's crazy what they do. And you can tell it in this article. Moderated by PBS journalist Anna Rao and John Twiggs in a studio at UM's campus. Holy crap. You talk about home field advantage for a candidate.
Oh, yeah.
And why in the hell aren't audiences allowed and stuff anymore? Folks, it's our guys. There are guys. We're voting. And you keep us away? That's bull crap.
And the decisions they're going to make are going to affect us financially.
Yeah. Okay, we got the Packers and the Vikings playing this weekend, but no fans of either team can come to the game and support the team that you love.
Right.
That is a bunch of crap. No, they don't want it. You know why? Because they know anything they can control in that environment.
Well, and they had a big conservative rally before the debate last night, too, right outside.
Tester's a 3-term incumbent farmer from Big Sandy, but she is a Navy SEAL, founded an aerial firefighting company, and he moved to Montana a decade ago. He attacked Sheehy as a wealthy out-of-stater. Well, I attack you as an overblown suck-ass from Washington, D.C. There, I'll say it again.
You're a wealthy in-stater that's worth $18 million and you couldn't possibly save on what they're paying you.
That Schumer paid you. Tester's lost some weight. I can see that in the picture, so good for him. Tough to do when you're that large, and I see he's lost some weight. Almost all of this article is about Sheehy and talking about his buddy who said he's probably still drunk by 8 a.m. Half the article is all about that statement.
Well, of course.
You know, there's nothing in this article about Jon Tester letting guys shower with your girls in the locker rooms. Not one thing in there.
Biased journalism.
You bet. That's what the whole article is dang near about that. Nothing was brought up about how Tester hates anybody who moved into Montana, started a family or a business here or a farm.
Just
anything.
when you run for office, that's the only time it's forbidden.
That's right. Nothing. No questions were brought up. None in the article about it. This is an anti-Sheehy article, folks. That's all there is to it. That's all it is to it. And this gal's head of the Montana State News Bureau. I'll bet she's got a journalism degree from UM. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. They're taught that. Every angle, every sentence, all carried the liberal flag. That's what you do in journalism. TV, same thing. I'd love to have these TV reporters come on in. I'll argue with you. You're far smarter than me. You went to college and learned your journalism tricks. You're far can outwit me, outsmart me. So come in. We'll argue your reporting and your slanted bias. Wealthy out-of-staters are a major part of our problem. You bet. We don't want these wealthy out-of-staters coming into Montana, building businesses, building the Coca-Cola plant, building that new business up at Lewistown with 500 jobs, all these out-of-staters. We don't want any of them, right, John Tester? You suck ass. You bet. None of them. Like your ancestors, who were all out-of-staters. How about Mike Mansfield, born in New York City? He was an out-of-stater. Oh, yeah, we don't want them coming in, starting a family, bringing their children, buying a home here. We don't want anybody coming into this state. None. The only way John Tester believes you can live here is if you were born out in the prairie in a cabin with a midwife, holding on to a side of a bed with them and a hot bucket of water delivering your baby.
And
you dumbass.
You spend your weekends watching Little House on the Prairie
That's
reruns.
right. That's the only way you're allowed to be in Montana, according to John Tester. I believe women should be able to make their own health care decisions. Oh, yeah? Then where were you when the Supreme Court of Montana said that kids are allowed to make their own health care decisions? Where were you? And only women. How come he didn't mention men? How come men aren't allowed to make their own health care decisions? Nobody cares about them, see? This is just a pro-John Tester article, and it makes me sick.
It's not journalism.
No. How come nobody asked John Tester who was he endorsing for president? Nobody asked him at that. Not one question on that. The election is 30 days. Who are you voting for? And John Tester, will you accept the results of the election? He hasn't got the word yet from Schumer. No. They concentrated on one Native American comment about a buddy of his. This is such a crucial point for our country. And they start with our kids so early. So early. They're brainwashing them, folks. You have got to be an active parent. You've got to counter all that stuff. I got an article in here today. See if I can find it here. Dang it. They're starting civics classes now with kids in kindergarten, and they're using, oh, God, I can't remember the name of the cartoon character. Where is it? Oh, Paw Patrol to teach democracy. We want to raise good citizens and strengthen our democracy. So teachers are solving problems with these preschool students learning about democracy. Folks, they're going to start in on them early. 3 and 4-year-olds on a course, of course, that was developed by whom? Liberals. I can only imagine. Folks, I read our School District 2 books, and this is where they win. Look at we talked about it. Look at the journalism teachers at UM that are teaching all of the future reporters and newspaper writers that are coming up.
And what happens if you go through those classes and you're a conservative? Do they fail you?
Look at this guy, this Poop from Billings, Professor Poop. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Who they put on all the TV stations, and he's a nut job. And they never put anybody on the TV stations that will counter what he says.
No.
Never. 3 and 4, they're starting now. At 3 and 4. These kids that are 3 and 4, half of them aren't even fully potty trained yet, and they're teaching them about democracy. Got to get them early. Democracy. Let's talk about democracy. 14 million people wanted Joe Biden to run for president, and the Democrats didn't like him. So the coup that they started ran him out, and they picked their own candidate. You know, that's the same thing. That's how Hitler was picked. They used the same exact methods to put in Kamala Harris as they did to put Hitler in power in Germany. Did you know that? Read your history books. 14 million people. Kamala Harris got 0 votes. She wouldn't have won one primary in America.
No.
And now she's the presidential frontrunner. And they want to teach us about democracy? You don't teach me a damn thing about democracy. I'll teach you about democracy. They want to eviscerate the First Amendment. All these things, folks. Get rid of the Electoral College. Get rid of the Bill of Rights, Constitution, history. Make Puerto Rico a state. Washington, D.C. a state. Put 2 senators in. Fill the courts. Democracy, right? My ass. Who in the hell's running the country anyway? Biden is so far out in left field, nobody knows.
No.
Yesterday, he did a news conference. Okay, and, we have these tensions in the Middle East. By the way, he's sending 2,000 more of your brave men and women over to the Middle East, and we don't do anything. He's such a dumbass. We're sending all these assets over there to help Israel and protect the Middle East, and we're funding Iran, who is bombing the hell out of everybody, building nukes and supplying terrorist arms around the world. We're funding them. He's so cognitively disabled. Yesterday, a reporter, he's there, he comes back. He's been in Delaware on the beach while the hurricane hits. A reporter asked him yesterday, what do you think about the strikes in Yemen? Israel, opened up on some stuff there. Mr. President, how do you feel about the strikes in Yemen? And he goes, well, I think we need to work towards a collective bargaining agreement. That's what he said. He's thinking about the dock workers striking, and she asked him about the strikes in Yemen. The guy is a mess. Who the hell's making the calls here? If he had any balls at all, he'd fire every one of those dock workers. Every one of them. Remember what Reagan did to the air traffic controllers that held the country hostage?
That's
You
right.
can't hold your country hostage. He should either order them back to work or fire them. 45,000 members of them. And of course, these journalists, minds of mush, right away start putting articles about there's going to be severe shortages in the United States. There isn't going to be. And remember the thing about Ukraine? Oh, our store shelves will be bare. They're one of the world's largest wheat producers. Remember that, Mark? Never happened, did it? I can get bread and buns. How about you? Didn't even make a bit of difference. In fact, wheat's low as it's ever been. There's so much of it. So these people don't know anything, but they know what level of spin to follow. They were trained by these University of Montana journalist professors. Anyway, back to the strike. 45,000 of them, 36 ports. And so they went to the negotiating table. You know what their opening offer was, the union? Their opening offer? They wanted a 77% pay raise over their 6 years of their contract. 77. Right now, the current salary of a dock worker, folks, is anywhere between $81,000 and $200,000 a year.
Wow.
And they get large amounts of overtime, which, by the way, the President, Trump, doesn't want to tax. They want a 77% raise increase. Democrats, you know what that would do to your cost of things? So they said, we'll give you 50% over 6 years. 50%. So just think of that, folks. Right now, if they're making $100,000 a year, at the end of this contract in 6 years, they'll be making $150,000 a year. And nope, that's not enough. I'd give them 5 of these.
Yeah.
And contribute more to their medical plan and their retirement, where they pay them every day until they're dead. And they turned it down. You should fire all of them. Well, then what do we do? Get people in there, train them, get them in there. You know, we got air traffic up and running again, didn't we, after we fired all them? Because then those people came back. Well, folks, if you're making between $81,000, that's for the new ones, and $200,000 a year and large amounts of overtime at the dock, if they fire you, are you going to beg for your job back, or are you going to go to McDonald's? You're going to beg for your job back. Nobody wants to give up a job like that.
No.
The strike will have almost an immediate impact on supplies of imports like bananas. Well, I'll be damned. You know what? Shut the door, Betty, and go home if I can't get a banana. If I can't have a banana, Mark, you could still get bread and meat and milk and eggs and fruit that we grow here, vegetables, but I can't get a banana. That's right. The ports handle 3.8 million metric tons of bananas each year, according to the American Farm Bureau. Well, I'll be a son of a bitch. I don't know how I'm going to make it without a banana. I can't have my banana. So give them a 77% raise. You're not going to be able to get bananas if they give them that.
Right.
You know why? A banana is going to be $5 a banana.
It is.
That's the right. Buy the banana and I got to go. Retailers, auto parts suppliers, they're hoping for a settlement. You know, President Joe Biden could use the Taft-Hartley Act. That's an act that will put them back to work, and it's a 90-day cooling off period.
Okay.
He won't do it.
He doesn't know about it.
No. He's worried about the strikes in Yemen. But 77%, folks. 77%.
I don't know what your biggest ask has ever been when you went in when you thought you deserved a raise.
77%?
You know, boss, I can't help but notice I've been killing it lately, and I'm thinking, 77% bump ought to do it.
Yeah. Gee, many Christmas. So, oh no, it could affect Christmas shopping. Well, then it looks like Americans are going to save a little more money. Mm-hmm. It's going to hurt the retailers.
Right.
But the retailers should be putting pressure on these unions. You put pressure on them then. Mm-hmm. Guys that deliver it, truck drivers out there. Well, we're gonna lose our jobs because they're on strike. Well, you go on strike too. Then they'll go on strike. Mm-hmm. Better watch it out there. Get up and count your blessings every day. You're starting at 80,000 as a longshoreman and up to 200,000 now for these guys that have been there a while, and they want a 77% raise. Just think of that. 77%, folks, of $200,000. I'll do the math.
I'm just thinking, if I'm making $200,000, my family's never going to see me because I'm working so damn much overtime.
That's a $151,000 raise over 6 years for the top dock workers.
Nice.
They'd go from $200,000 to $351,000 in 6 years. Everybody want to join me downtown at the courthouse today for a big finger demonstration? Mm-hmm. Can you believe that, folks? Yeah. And the Democrats back them. Oh, yeah.
Votes.
Yeah, well, you bet. We're behind you. Anybody they can pander a vote out of, they're behind, folks. So that's what we're dealing with. And I'll see if I can find out more about that water thing.
Okay, one little traffic note. I just got a message here. If your commute includes Grand Avenue, somebody just made Juros to drive through. So there's
Juros doesn't have a drive-through.
Oh, yes,
Mark.
It does, actually.
No,
Paul.
it does.
It's brand new.
Oh, really?
Just went in this morning.
Well, you don't have to go round back, do you?
You don't.
Well, that's great.
Somebody in a Jeep made that happen,
Uh-oh.
so that might affect your commute.
Not good.
616.
The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill, next to the Roadside Events Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat, it's where it's at.